Hello everyone and welcome back to Color Scholar. This is part 1 of a two-part video series focusing on adjustment layers and layer masks. But in this video we will be discussing adjustment layers. Adjustment layers are used when you are editing your photos without destroying it or altering it permanently, because whatever edits you apply to your image using adjustment layers, they will be created on a separate layer, and therefore you can always modify the edits or even revert it back to its initial form. For example, instead of applying any kind of adjustment directly to your image, you can instead use adjustment layers like labels adjustment, which comes on a separate layer, and this will give you the flexibility to come back tomorrow or even a week or a month later and remove that adjustment layer or make changes within that adjustment itself. So let's get started. In this video, we will do some edits using adjustment layers, and I will show you what working non-destructively is. So first of all, let's open an image. In the previous video, if you remember, we talked about layers, and whenever you open an image in Photoshop, image is placed on a background layer that is locked. You can see right here. But you can edit that image directly on the layer. Let's say you want to apply a hue saturation, and we can do that by going to image, adjustment, and selecting the hue saturation. Now let's target this color. I'm just clicking on it, and if I slide the hue slider, if I move the hue slider, I can change the color of that particular blue. Let's make it orangey. And if I save this file as a PSD document, and let's close the file, and if I open it again, and if you decide you want to go back to original image, it won't be possible because you applied the changes directly to the pixels of the background layer and you have altered those pixels. You can't get back what you initially had when you saw this photo in camera. Therefore, it is important to use adjustment layers when editing your photos, and here's how it works. So you can apply adjustment layers from the icon down here from these menus, or you can go to Layer, New Adjustment Layers, and you can get the menus here as well, and they both are the same thing. So if I want to increase the contrast of the image, I can go to the adjustment layer, select brightness and contrast, and work with contrast according to my liking. Let's increase it. Yeah, okay. And if I save this file as a PSD document, that is Photoshop document, which will retain all of my layers, let's save it. And if I close it and again open it, you can see that the adjustment layers will still be there, and I can keep on working on my adjustment without affecting my original image. If I turn this adjustment layer off, you can see I can get my original image back, or I can even delete this adjustment layer and my original image will be intact. So this is the way of working non-destructively. So let's go ahead and take a look at different types of adjustment layers available to us from the adjustment layer icon. And we have a total of 16 different types of tools that help us edit our image. So with brightness and contrast, we can increase or decrease the brightness like I did on my previous example. If we just increase the brightness, this will increase the brightness, and this slider will just increase the contrast. The next one is labels. Labels will allow you to adjust the tonal range of your image. You can adjust the white points or the black points, or even the dynamic range of an image. The third one is curves, and we can also use curves to adjust the points throughout an image's tonal range. We can increase the highlights or decrease the shadows, even increase the shadows as well, or decrease the highlights. And we can also play with the midtones. And if we just select any one of the points and drag it up, it will be removed and we'll get back to default. There are also channels within the curves. So if I want to bring some blue to the image, you can just drag it up, and you can see the image is getting a blue tinge. And if I decrease the blue, yellow is showing up because there are 3 channels in Photoshop: red, green, and blue, and the opposite of red, green, and blue is cyan for red, magenta for green, and blue as yellow as its opposite color. So whenever I try to decrease the blue, yellow color will come in. Similarly with the red, if I decrease the red, cyan will show up, Similarly with the green, magenta will show up. So that's all for curves. We can also work on exposure in the image by increasing or decreasing the amount of light in the image. If I just drag this slider, you can see if I bring it to the left, the light will be less. If I bring it to the right, it will be more. There is also an option for offset and gamma correction. This will make your image dark and contrasty, and if you bring it to the right, it will make your image seem faded. Similar with gamma correction as well, you can play and get various kinds of result. Now after exposure, we can have vibrance. Vibrance can be used to increase the intensity of more muted colors, and it leaves the already well saturated colors alone. So if I increase the vibrance, you can see in the image only a certain amount of saturation is being increased and not as a whole, and it is also not affecting the skin tone of the subject. Let's make it where it was. But if I drag the saturation, you can see all the colors in the image are getting saturated, even the skin tone of the subject. So if you want to increase the color in an image and you don't want to affect the skin tone of the subject, you can play with vibrance, as this will only work on the muted colors, and the colors that are already saturated in the image, it will not touch those colors. So that's it for vibrance. Next up is hue saturation. Hue saturation increases the intensity of all the colors in an image. So we can use it to boost the colors of the overall image, which is called master color. If master is selected, and if you increase the saturation or change the hue, all the colors in the image are affected. But if you want to target a particular color, selecting let's say cyan, and if we change the hue, you can see at the back only the cyan color is being affected right now. And we also have lightness that will brighten or darken that particular color, and that's how you can use hue saturation layer. We can also work with color balance, which is good for color cast, be it in the midtones, highlights or shadows. We can target a particular area like shadows. If you want to increase the cyan in shadows, we can just select shadows and play with cyan, or if we want to bring up a red in the shadows, we can bring up red. Similarly with magenta and green and yellow and black, or we can go to highlights and bring red in the highlights or cyan. Similarly magenta or green and yellow or blue. Same thing with the midtones as well. The next one is black and white, and black and white adjustment layers will make your image black and white, and we have the option to control individual color channels. Suppose your image has some red, and you can control the amount of red in that image in the form of black and white. Also, we are given some presets you can select from right here, and you can get varying results. Photo filters can be used to warm up or cool down the overall colors in a photo. Like you can use a warming filter or a cooling filter. There are various kinds of presets that are available, and we can control the density as well. That is how much of that color is showing up in the image. So that is it for photo filter right now. Channel mixer. Channel mixer is a more advanced type of edit. Using channel mixer, we can create high quality grayscale, sepia tone or other tinted images. Even here we've got some presets. If you want to get any kind of presets, you can get here. Channel mixer modifies a targeted color channel using a mixture of existing color channels in the image. So here it's output channel. You can select a particular channel, let's say red, and now you can play with that particular channel, and whatever is happening, because channel mixer is doing from the remaining two channels that are green and blue. You've got the option for green and blue as well. You can get interesting effects using the channel mixer. The next up is Color lookup. Color lookup is the adjustment layer that can create subtle or dramatic filter to your photo using the LUTs or the lookup tables listed here. Here we have different kinds of pre-made presets that can give us varying results depending on the photo. But the effects can be strong, so you can go to opacity and control the opacity of the effect. If you bring it back down to 0, no effect will be showing up. But if you bring it about 50 or 60, and you can toggle between on and off, you can see the effect of color lookup. The next one is invert, and as the name suggests, it just inverts the color of your image, or it creates a photo negative effect. After that, we have posterize, and posterize will produce a flat poster-like appearance to your photo by reducing the number of brightness values in the photo. So right now, if the levels value is 2, you'll get this kind of image. But if you increase the value, that means your brightness values are increasing, you can get your original image. So you can play with posterize as well to get interesting effects. After posterize, there is threshold, and threshold turns your image into a black and white image. Increasing or decreasing the threshold level can control the number of pixels being turning white or black. Let's close this. Second last one is called gradient map, and the gradient map converts the grayscale range of an image into a custom gradient fill. And we can go to the gradient editor by just clicking on the gradient, and it comes with a bunch of different gradients, all of which you can adjust to your liking. Like if we go to pink and select a particular color pink, the effect is too strong, we can't see anything else. But if you just select this color pointer and select any other color, say let's keep it at black, you can get interesting. We can add as many as we want, any color you want. Whatever you want to create, you can create. And there are many pre-made gradients that you can use, or you can even create your own one. You can even control the opacity. If you go to the top, it is opacity pointer, and if you click on it or select it and go down here, and you can change the opacity of that gradient as well. So that is it for gradient. Let's close it. And the last one is selective color. Selective color selectively modifies the amount of a primary color without modifying the other primary colors in your image. Let me show you what I mean by that. In the colors, if cyan is selected, now I am only affecting the cyan of the image. I can change the color to either magenta, green or magenta, blue or yellow, and black or white. So you have two options, relative and absolute. Now what they do is, by default, absolute box will be checked, and this adjusts the color in absolute values. Like if you change the color, it will change the value in absolute. It will change the color in absolute value. The relative option changes the existing amount of cyan, magenta, yellow or black by its percentage of the total. So these two features will give you different kind of result. If relative is selected, we will get like this. With absolute, you will get different result. So these are the 16 types of adjustment layers that are available in Photoshop, and you can use each one of them to fulfill or achieve your creative vision. Now to the side of the adjustment layer, let's open this one. There is this icon and it is selected by this outline, and if I double click on this icon, I can bring back the properties panel of that particular adjustment layer and you can start editing. These examples are only a small taste of what each tool can do. but they all have more capabilities. But as basic or advanced as you get with it, using this non-destructive editing technique will improve your workflow and make your whole Photoshop experience a lot easier. And that's it for Adjustment Layers for today. I hope you learned something new, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you back for some more. See you next time on Color Scholar.